We write the appeal for them. A lot of people will focus on themselves, right? I'm so, oh my gosh, my husband lost his job and I don't have any money and this. And what we found is no, focus on your animal,
Yeah.
right? You need financial help, briefly mention, I'm in financial distress right now. I only have $1,000 and this is $4,000. But the main thing is tell the story of your dog. That's what people want to do. People don't want to help other people necessarily. They want to help animals. So what are we talking about? What are we doing today?
We are going to be talking about all you do and what you guys do out there. So educate me, inform me, all the good things about what Free Animal Doctor is. So yeah, if you guys could just introduce yourself initially, that'd be great. And then we'll go from there.
I'll go first. Hi, my name is Sam Bernardo. I'm a co-founder of Free Animal Doctor. Do I need to go any more detail?
We're good. We're good. We got the basics.
And I'm Ryan. I'm the other co-founder. Sam and I started Free Animal Doctor for like what, 7 years ago, Sam?
Yeah, a little over 7 years ago.
How did you guys get together on this? Like, what was the inspiration or the idea? Like, there's always a spark for something. So what was it for this for you two?
Well, Sam, you want to start or you want me?
Yeah, I can. My recollection was this: Ryan and I have known each other for a while. Excuse me, my dogs are pushing my legs.
That's good. They're welcome to join on the.
So this is Bob.
There we go. Hey, Bob.
So Ryan came a little over about 8 years ago. Came over and he said, "Guys, I've got an idea about maybe somehow we can help animals. We both like animals or love animals." And it was sort of a crowdfunding concept. And I'm looking at this going, geez, we can't compete with the likes of GoFundMe. We just don't have the capital for that. So then if we could compete on a different level, so the magic was let's make it a nonprofit. And all of a sudden, I mean, it's like one of those things magically, within like 10 minutes, all these characteristics that we have that are unique to our organization, only to our organization, just sort of evolved. And there was a beginning of Free Animal Doctor. Now, Ryan's, I can speak more to this. His motivation for doing this was, I think, born out of a situation he had when he was traveling up San Diego or San Francisco, I believe. Mine was, and I'll
the quick version of that story is this is before the founding of Free Animal Doctor. I was on a vacation up in rural Northern California, little bed and breakfast, like 10-bedroom place, and they do breakfast. I'm down in the parking lot like at 6 a.m. and there's these two dogs in the bed of a pickup truck in the parking lot, of the small bed and breakfast. And I see them in there and they're looking at me and I'm looking at them and I'm like, are they friendly? They're big dogs. And I kind of walk up and I'm talking to them and, teasing them like, hey, what are you doing? Blah, 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 as you would. And they jump out of the pickup truck, right? There's nobody in the truck. It's parked. And I'm like, oh, shoot, somebody's dogs have gotten out. And one of them has this, it looks like a birth defect paw. Like there's no paw, there's a stump and it's kind of, it's not great looking. And anyway, to shorten it up, found out it is a woman who's the assistant cook there. It's her two dogs. And she came out and she's like, oh, they're friendly. They won't run away. They'll go back in. And I said, what's going on there? She said, well, he's got this birth defect and we wrap it up, but he rubs it and it, it gets bloody and whatever. And there's a procedure they can do to help him fix that. And I'm talking to her and it's like $1,000, $2,000. And she works for minimum wage at this rural bed and breakfast. And hey, and sorry, it's a little.
They're part
crazy.
of this.
yeah, exactly. And so I
props to
help her out, but at the same time, I thought, I don't know this person. I give her the money. Is she going to use it for what's appropriate? Or even maybe she says like, yes, I will use this money for my dog. On the way home, the transmission on her pickup truck falls out, right?
Yeah.
She's going to have to get her truck fixed. I just gave her $1,000. She'll go get her truck fixed first, And I'm just like, how can we, can you help control these dogs, please? Sorry, I've got somebody who can help get them a little quiet. And I was like, how can we come up with a way to donate to somebody like this where the money will go to the animal in need, no matter whether the person has good intentions, bad intentions, whatever happens. And I had been, GoFundMe was fairly new. It was just being used. Some people had shown it to me. And I was like, well, there needs to be a solution here, because that is really the same as just giving a stranger money.
Yeah.
Right. And so I had the idea, and later ended up talking to Sam, and then Sam was like, well, you might want to make it a nonprofit. And I was like, well, yes. And people are going to give donations. We're going to make sure it only goes to the animal. We came up with some ways to do that. The biggest one is that we only pay the veterinarian, right? So if you list a case on our website, you need $1,000 for your dog, you get the $1,000. We never pay the owner. The owner doesn't get any of the money. It goes, we call the veterinarian and pay the veterinarian. That eliminates 95%, of any potential issues. But also, what if the animal doesn't get the procedure? That happens, right? You take your dog in to and they say, well, actually, the condition has fixed itself. Your dog doesn't need this surgery anymore. Or, sometimes when it's some serious thing in an older animal, maybe the animal passes away before you can even do the surgery. Any number of possibilities. And in that case, we would refund all of the donors, right? Because basically we're putting ourselves between the person that needs help and the donor. We're the one that is protecting everybody involved. And I thought, well, that's going to be a lot of donations coming in, a lot of refunds that are needed, a lot of paying to vets. Sam was an attorney. And I thought, it'd be good to have an attorney involved with this. So I called Sam and started getting his advice. And then Sam liked the idea. He was
being used. There you go. Just
yes, initially.
There's skill sets that you've established over the years, Sam.
Well.
Yeah.
And I thought he loved
so sorry, I said that would be the short version, but it turned out being a bit long. But that was sort of my moment there. And then
to follow up on Ryan's stuff, ours is a donor-oriented nonprofit. I mean, we care more for the donor, so that they know that their donation is going to go exactly where we say it's going to go. And if that doesn't happen, you can get your money back. Name another charity on this planet that gives you your money back.
Yeah.
But that's what Friends would do. I mean,
so right.
If I borrowed money from you,
we started with that transparency model. So being a nonprofit was a big part of that, because, when people go to donate, like, this is not a for-profit corporation. We don't take any percentage. If somebody donates $100, we pay the vet $100, right? There's even some credit card transaction fees. Obviously, we just absorb those, right? We take care of it at Free Animal Doctor, just so it's super clean for the donor. If you give $100, that dog is getting $100. Cat,
all your money
bird,
goes to
rabbit, horse, whatever it is. Yeah.
Do people get to choose what animal they donate to, or a situation? How does that go?
Perfect question. Yeah, exactly. So it's, for people that are familiar with GoFundMe, it's very similar. You go to our website and you're going to see the cases. Obviously, only so many can be featured, so we highlight 3. Right. So there's 3 that are featured. And then below that, they're in chronological order of when they've been listed. And so you can just go through there. And we have people that do that. We have people who are sort of regular donors. And there's people who, for example, always donate to little dogs. Right. There's cat people. Right. There are people that are focused on, say, cancer cases because they're animal. We also do stuff like, this is a good segue. We found in helping people that a lot of people need help. If you go to a normal fundraising site, just, you create an account, you put in your email, your password, you upload some photos, and you write your story. And most people aren't very good at that. Most people don't know how to take good photos, right? And most people, Princess, and most people, sorry, we've got a barking dog. And most people don't know how to write a good appeal. Right? They just don't. Yeah. And so we do that for them. We help them do that. They send us their photos. We edit them. We fix them up in Photoshop. Now with AI, we can do a lot. Sometimes people send us blurry photos. We can sharpen them up easily. And then we write the appeal for them. A lot of people will focus on themselves, right? Oh my gosh, my husband lost his job and I don't have any money and this. And what we found is, no, focus on your animal. Yeah. Right? You need financial help, briefly mention, I'm in financial distress right now. I only have $1,000 and this is $4,000. But the main thing is, tell the story of your dog. That's what people want to do. People don't want to help other people necessarily. They want to help animals, right? At least on our website. And so helping them do that. And as part of that, we have gotten to know a number of foundations. For example, there is a cancer foundation that a couple of them that will donate to animals that need help with cancer treatment. So we can also do that. People come to us, we make a listing, we put it out there, and then we'll contact these organizations, right? And you're sort of pre-approved. You've gone through Free Animal Doctor. We've got you listed. Now we put you in contact with that organization and get you taken care of. I'm sorry, the person who's helping me with the dogs has disappeared. So
Their dogs,
little,
To your question, another interesting thing that we do is that every animal listed has its medical records attached to the campaign.
Oh, interesting.
Which GoFundMe, I'll rag on them a bit. GoFundMe, there's no requirement of that. I mean, how do you know if the cause that they're raising money for is in fact true or not?
Yeah, you don't.
And we don't. And here's a veterinarian's name and number. They know exactly that it's going to be public, and people can go online, and public scrutiny is great. I don't know if this doctor is an oncologist, if the doctor's had problems in the past, and if the prices are too high, too low. And we usually vet a lot of this before, no pun intended, before we list the animal. So as a donor, you go online, you pick and choose the animal you want. You know exactly what the money is going to be used for, how much it's going to be used. We don't charge any fees or costs, and we only pay the animal's healthcare provider. And if these things don't work out, you get your money back. I mean, oh my God, it's almost a guarantee without being a guarantee.
You guys, you must have like a central location, an office, a building, right? That you run this out from. I'm assuming, aside from the site where you're that's where people can kind of check things out. But do you have like a physical location where the animals come in?
Sam is there right now, I believe, right?
Yeah, that's exactly. Yes, we do. Yeah. The address, it's in Sierra Madre, California, and if you're not familiar with the area, it's I guess northeast LA County, near Pasadena.
70 East Montecito Avenue, Sierra Madre, California. And we also have a
world headquarters
that we're hoping to expand, which is nearby in the city of Arcadia.
Okay. So you're basically in an LA region, right? Is there a lot of these cases come from kind of the LA region or your region, or how far out do you go with these animal situations?
Great question. So we do the entire United States and a little bit overseas. It depends, because we have to make the payment to the veterinarian directly. When we get out of the US, we have to look at, what are the ability for us to do that. As far as like making a payment to them. We've done a couple of cases where we know the doctor in Mexico, so we were able to make that arrangement. We've done a number in Canada. Canada's fairly easy for international payments. They're technically international. And I think we did a case it was somewhere in Europe. I'm sorry, I forget the country, but it was also one where we were able to talk. But 99%, it's in the United States. But yes, the majority, more than 50%, probably are in California. And people sometimes they say the name Free Animal Doctor. Why did you get that name? Yeah. Part of what started is when Sam and I first set up this organization. We then, we're like, okay, we told people about it. We had some people that were on board to be like first donors and to help launch the idea and see how it would work. And we realized we don't know anybody that needs help. Right. We know a few people that have pets, but they're not in financial distress. Right. And we were like, okay, well, what are we going to call this? And so we really wanted the name to emphasize that this was a resource that you could go to if you needed help. Right. So we are not technically the doctor, although we have some aspirations to be. Sam we'll talk about that. But so that's where the Free Animal Doctor name came from. And of course, initially we're reaching out to people, was talking to rescues saying, have you had anybody come to you and want to surrender their dog, something like that, because they can't afford the treatment? And so that was all, California. And so the word has sort of spread. There's, I'd say we have a good number of people in the California area who know where we are. And we've been on TV a couple of times, or an animal's case. Like sometimes the story of the animal will get on TV, but then they will mention, if you want to donate, you can go here. Right. And so I think, yeah, we're definitely known more locally in Southern California than anywhere else. But, you know, we've had cases in New York area. We're doing an ongoing case with a dog that needs chemo in Brooklyn, New York right now. We've had a lady we've helped twice with her dog that she rescued from a puppy mill.
Simply put, we've helped in our 7 years of existence. We've helped over 1,000 animals. Roughly half.
Yeah, Sam has the numbers.
Roughly half were in California. The other half were scattered across the United States and Canada.
Wow.
And as far as healthcare, we have a clinic in Arcadia. Of course, that's limited to the local residents. We have people from San Diego come up, but generally speaking, it's localized. But as far as fundraising for your animals' healthcare, there are no boundaries. In fact, just recently, we did a campaign for a cat with a St. Louis Police Department. Cats were they had a equestrian group, and so they're horseback police officers. And in fact, that's a doctor that Ryan knows, or we know somehow in St. Louis. But
near St. Louis,
they closed the equestrian group, and this cat who was a mouser in the barns was retired and got sick. So they called us, and we raised money for this animal's health care.
Yeah, that one cracked me up.
On TV in St. Louis.
Because we got the notice it's a police cat, and I'm like, how does a police cat work? Like, what are you talking?
Yeah, you don't hear about that.
Cat burglar. There you go. I don't know.
Yeah. And so, but what it was is he was at the horse stables, as Sam said, they literally brought in a cat for rodent control, to control mice, and sort of as a novelty, they made him a police officer. But they shut that program down, or they moved it, and so that cat got adopted by a retired police officer, and then the cat developed some serious health issues, and we did a fundraiser for it. And it was a very popular local story in the St. Louis area because, it was an animal to help, but it was also tied in with the local police department as a police cat. And I think it was about $5,000 that cat ended up needing in total for all his treatment. It was cancer related. Those cancer ones can be expensive because there's a lot of expense in testing. Right, they have to bring the animal in. They have to do biopsies. That has to get sent to labs. So even if the vet wants to give you a discount, it's still expensive because there's third parties involved. Sometimes they need to do soft tissue imaging, which X-rays won't do. So your CAT scan, your MRI, those are expensive. I mean, any human that's done that, even with insurance, it's not cheap. Yeah. And and so the kitty that one got on TV. Oh gosh. Hundreds of people donated to that cat. That's crowdfunding. Some people donate $5-10, but if 100 people donate $10, that's $1,000. Yeah. And then you have a few people that come in and give $500 or something like that. There are some retired police officers that
we have a woman from Philadelphia. Ryan, I chuckle over this. A woman from Philadelphia who writes.
What's this one? Remind me.
That writes a $2 check. You should send a $2 cash. Once a week, she'll send us a $2 check. We're going, well, why don't wait till the end of the month and make it an $8 check? You spend as much money and the mailing is not.
Well, that's one thing that's really
hard. I mean,
about doing this is you meet a lot of really sweet donor stories. I mean, going to that same one, we had a lady that used to send small amounts of cash, like $5 or something in the mail, and it was a little bit frustrating because she would really wrap it up really tight and small, and wrap it in paper so that I guess nobody would see it through the envelope and steal it. And, because you're not supposed to send cash by. And I actually managed to get her phone number. I called her, and she was somewhere on the East Coast too, I think Pittsburgh. And I was like, this is great. I don't have any problem with it, but why, like Sam said, there's easier ways to do it, and also, I was kind of thinking, if she's sending small amounts of money, if she doesn't have a lot of money, I don't want her sending all her money to us. We'll be fine. We'll find somebody else that, and what it was is she used to donate so much money to animals in need, not just our organization, but other places, the local animal shelter, that her husband got really mad at her. And so what she does is during the week, she just saves up cash, right? Instead of writing checks or using the credit card. And then she just mails the cash off to everybody so her husband doesn't know about it. Right. And it's just, you get those funny little stories.
Wow.
Like that,
Now
you know,
we've outed her, so we'll be in trouble.
Yeah. Well, right. I mean, this is years ago, but I just love that story. You know, the idea that there's this little old lady, you know, who just all week, you know, when she goes and buys a coffee, she puts the $2 in her pocket, the change or whatever it is, you know, and just keeps that going, and secretly goes and mails it off, you know, because her husband, you know, was like, you can't be sending $500 to the Humane Society every month, Brenda, you know, and we get a lot of those very sort of cute donor stories, or like the lady Sam's talking about who sends us these small checks, you know, all the time. You know,
So,
but it all adds up. That's the beauty of crowdfunding. So just, you know, to reiterate for your audience, I mean, I'm sure people know it, but it bears repeating. Basically, technology has allowed us to take that sort of jar that might be like at your local little store, you know, somebody in the neighborhood needs help. They would put that, you know, would say, help our local neighbor. And previously, you know, that little jar reached the 50 people that shop at that little store every month, or 100 people or 200 people. Well, now we can put that jar in America, right? You put it online, and anybody in the US or most other countries can donate. And so it really does, you know, the crowdfunding works. It is a good model. It's just the problem is there's been so many stories about fraud, and people are really concerned about that. If I can interject one more quick story. Recently, I had a lady who had donated to us a couple of large donations, like $100 to individual animals. And she hadn't donated in a while. I sent her an email, and her accountant had told her to stop donating. Don't do these online crowdfunding. And I explained our organization to her, and anyway, she gave me her accountant's phone number. I called her accountant, talked to him, and then he talked to her. It was all fine, because as the accountant, you know, his job, or as he saw it, was to protect her and her finances. And she comes in. This is a woman, I think she was in her 60s, maybe 70s, based on how she talked on the phone. And she goes into her accountant and says, well, I've been paying money to help dogs online. And he's, you know, what? And then how do you do it? Well, it's this crowdfunding website. You know, people have heard, oh no, that's fraud, right? That you're getting ripped off. And so her accountant just tells her, no, don't do that. You know, don't. And but after I talked to him and he looked up our organization, I sent him the relevant paperwork. You know, we're a registered nonprofit, and I sent him a couple of clips where we'd been on TV and whatever. He was convinced. He's like, oh, okay, this is a real organization, and the way you guys are doing it is financially, what would you say, Sam? Financially prudent, responsible, whatever the adjective is. Honest. And so, honest. And so that's the big thing. There's this great potential. People love to help animals. People will help animals they don't know. It doesn't have to be their neighbor's animal. They just have to see, like, here's this dog. He needs this. It would help him out. I'll give that dog $10. The thing is, you got to let me know, or somehow show me that if I give that $10, it's actually going to go to that dog, right? And so that's what we do. We guarantee that your donation is going where you sent it, and it's specifically for that case. You're not giving $10 to our organization, which does good around the world. You're giving $10 to Spot, the specific dog who needs this specific treatment.
In fact, there are two accounts.
People do. Yeah.
There are two accounts. There's an account for donations to the animal, then account for donations to the group Free Animal Doctor.
Yeah.
And to the point about crowdfunding, we're a small organization. Basically, it's 2.5 of us, Ryan and I, and some part-time workers.
We have two, yeah.
And in our 7 years of existence, we've paid out over $1.2 million.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, getting close to 1.5 now. Yeah.
So it's again, it's small, but if you think about ground up, I was an attorney, Ryan was in real estate. Neither one of us had any experience doing this. We just had a passion for helping the animals, and we have plans to make it more successful. And I think if people knew more about what we did and how we do it, if a donor's concerned about their money going to the cause, as they say, I don't think you can get any more safe or accountable organization than the way in which we manage their money.
And the dogs you guys have there, are these brought in dogs? These are dogs that are local, that are getting treatment, or your personal dogs that we're hearing and seeing?
Can I
Yeah,
say,
it's a combo.
before we start, Ryan, let me say this. One of our first clients was an iguana.
Oh wow. Okay. I was
So,
gonna ask you also what
yeah.
sort of animals you guys have. That's coming up too, but
Right. So a couple of the dogs that you heard earlier are mine, but we also um, basically we do some. We're also a small rescue, and that just happened. We've had you put out a thing called Free Animal Doctor, and people will show up and say like, "Hey, I can't take care of this dog I found. Will you take it?" or whatever. And also, we started helping some rescues, some small rescue organizations that really have trouble fundraising when they rescue a dog that needs a lot of care, right? That they can't afford. We'll do a listing for them. So we'll put that dog on our website and we'll say, "Hey, this isn't a person who owns this dog that needs help. This is a rescue. They found this dog on the street or whatever it was. They took it in thinking it had whatever, a broken leg, but it turned out it has a broken leg and whatever, a bad spleen or something. And it's cost more than they can afford. And so if you'd like to help this specific dog, and then once the dog is healthy, they'll put it up for adoption. And you do 100 of those cases, and maybe one of them we end up taking in or we help the rescue with. So a few of the dogs that you heard walking around here are ones that we have up for adoption. So we do a small amount of rescue on our own and adoptions, and we also do we work with a rescue organization out in San Bernardino. Out in that area, San Bernardino, Riverside County, there's large areas where animal control basically they only respond to cases where the animal is a danger to the public, like some pit bull that is scary and dangerous to people, or severely injured, like an animal, humane. If it's just stray dogs wandering around, they don't go pick them up. They don't have the resources, right? The government doesn't. And so we have a group, rescue group out there that goes and rescues dogs in those situations. It's almost always dogs, in that. So sort of strays that are in like bad health, bad condition, maybe in an area. Sometimes people will dump them. They'll drive them out like to on a side of a road somewhere, and dogs will hang around where they've been dumped. So somebody will drop them off on the side of the road, and the dog will just hang out there by the side of the road. It's going to get hit by a car.
Waiting for its master to come back.
What?
Waiting for its owner to come back.
Yeah, exactly. That's it's kind of sad. And so we will take those dogs in. Now we usually work with other rescues that will then place them, or we will help with fundraise for the animal to get like if it's got a broken leg, to get the orthopedic surgery it needs, then go to a rescue. But again, you do that enough times, one or two end up coming to you. And so we have a small rescue operation of our own that we do.
And then we have this rescue. This is Bob.
there you go.
Yeah, Bob Samris.
Bob is a Jack Russell Chihuahua mix, but he was brought to us by a rescue, didn't have the money, and Bob had a broken leg found in a construction site.
Wow.
So of course we've got to put him up until we can raise the money to get his injury treated, and we do that. Bob came to live with me, convalesce with me, and I am what they call a foster fail. Ryan has a few of those at his house as well. You keep them for a while and you fall in love with them, and okay, it's my dog. Yeah. So there you go. That's the other component to our business model.
There you go. So dogs, cats, what else have you had or helped out? What sort of other animals?
Well, as Sam was saying, there was the iguana. Truthfully, it's mostly dogs and cats. I mean, that's what most people have. Sure. We've done a number of birds.
We don't prohibit any other animal. It's just what.
That's right. And rabbits, we actually get rabbits is the number one so-called exotic animal. Mm-hmm. Obviously, if anybody listening is thinking, well, rabbits aren't exotic. I mean, they're quite normal. But just the way veterinary medicine works, dogs and cats are your normal animal. Basically, anything outside of that, like a rabbit, has to go to a specialized vet, exotic vet. And they can be more expensive because there's just less vets like that and available. And rabbits have a number. I mean, a lot of people have rabbits as a pet, and they'll have dental problems, impacted teeth, molars, things like that. So we've done a number of rabbits. It's probably rabbits number one, birds number two in the non-dog cat list. We did a campaign once or twice for horses. There was a horse rescuer who
Oh, that's right. I remember.
drives horses
Arizona.
from Texas
Yeah.
to California. So
Well,
basically,
you got to tell
there's
the whole story. That's a great story. This lady, horses that are too old or incapable of doing whatever they're doing, racing, they send them to Texas as a staging area because they can send them to Mexico for meat. This
Wow.
lady in California, in Los Angeles, got a tractor trailer truck, goes down there and takes orders. And she goes and buys these horses for basically whatever the meat value is, brings them
$50.
back.
It's very cheap. Yeah.
Brings them back, and now Ryan can tell you that then she's in an accident in Arizona in the middle of the night.
So basically, the horses she transports sort of rescue horses from Texas to California, and she has a network of people in California that will take these horses in. So yeah, when she has enough people that have said, she's got one person that'll take one person that'll take two. She's like, okay, I can go get 10 horses. She'll get her truck and she'll drive down to Texas and pick them up. And one time on the way back through Arizona, one time coming back through Arizona, she was in an accident. Somebody rear-ended her. And so some of the horses were injured, none of them terribly seriously, but they had like not life-threatening, but there were some injuries, and they all had to be boarded where the accident happened because the truck was damaged. She didn't have the truck. I mean, you don't think about these things, right? And so for like 3 weeks, these horses had to stay in Arizona at like different large animal vets. So that racks up a bill. A couple of them had, like some minor surgeries that had to happen, whatever. Meantime, she's trying to get, her truck and everything fixed. The accident wasn't her fault, but there's a whole liability thing. And so we helped her fundraise to get another truck to come down there and take the horses that weren't injured out and to help cover the cost of it. So there's all kinds of these interesting cases that come up, but most of them are regular people, in quotes, just think of the average person who maybe is going through a financially difficult time. Right now, we're hoping to work with the writers union. That's something we're working on because there's a lot of writers on strike in Los Angeles.
Interesting.
A lot of those people have rescue dogs, and cats. And we're doing one case right now, a cat named Leroy that has cancer. So you're on strike. You have union benefits, your health insurance is continuing, those kind of things. I mean, you're not destitute on the street, but at the same time, when you go into the vet and they say, oh my gosh, this tumor on your cat is cancer, and we need $2,000 to image it. And then based on the imaging, maybe $4,000, $5,000 of treatment. So you're going to need $7,000. You're like, well, I'm not working right now. Right. And I wasn't making a lot of money beforehand. I don't have $7,000. Maybe I can get credit for $2,000. I have a credit card with a $1,000 limit, but I'm not getting $7,000. And so we've been helping them with the fundraiser, and we're hoping to do more of that. And so usually, those are dog and cat cases, but yes, we do get these interesting cases, of horses being transported here and there, or, well, anyway, a whole bunch of them.
Wow. Where can people go? So there's the website. How can people get involved who are watching this? What would you recommend to them, or tell them where they should be going to and what they can do?
So the easy thing, go to the website, which is just our name, Free Animal Doctor, right? And spell doctor out, DOCTOR.
Google it.
Yeah. So freeanimaldoctor.org, because we're a nonprofit. So it's freeanimaldoctor.org. You can also follow our Instagram, which is also at Free Animal Doctor. So that's a good one. And from the Instagram, if you want to find the other social media, you'll find it. We're also doing TikTok and Facebook and all that stuff. But really, the website in there. On the website, we have a list of some of the places we've been. Like if you want to see a clip of TV interview, we have one clip. They did a story on us. It's about 2.5 minutes, very succinct, explains what's going on. Although you've watched this now, you probably know.
But more detail.
Yeah, much better detail here. Yeah, absolutely. But start on the website, and when you go on the website, you'll see up at the top I mean, you can't miss it. Or if you're on your phone, you just scroll. We'll have our 3 featured cases, which are 3 cases that we've sort of picked out that are currently in need, that we think are, just a very good, compelling cases. And then if you scroll down a little bit more, you'll see the 10 most recent, and you can then go back by 10 by 10 by 10. And, and that's in chronological order. And, excuse me. And you'll also see as you scroll backward in time, successful cases. And a lot of those have follow-up information and stuff. So if you're new to the site and you're sort of curious, like, oh, okay, go look at some of the successful cases. There's a little successful banner on there. You'll see it. And you can see like, oh, okay, so this is what happened with that one. You can kind of get an idea of what's going on. But it's pretty self-explanatory, I think. freeanimaldoctor.org.
Can I make a point?
Sure.
Yeah.
We're first and foremost a fundraising organization. And in doing that, we realized that if we could control the medical costs, we could provide more care to more animals for less money.
Mm-hmm.
The difficulty is neither one of us are veterinarians or have any veterinary experience. So we ended up obtaining a mobile clinic, a spay and neuter clinic from San Diego, brought it to Los Angeles, got a veterinary premises license, got DEA license because we have controlled substances on the bus. We
For anesthesia and stuff.
Yeah, we modified the bus a little bit, refurbished it, I guess is the proper word. Bought a lot of equipment, and so we've been in the spay and neuter business and done some mass removals and some hernia repairs for about 2 years. About 2 years, we've spayed or neutered over 2,200 animals, only working 1 day a week. The point to that is that we now have some, as they say, street cred about how to operate or how to manage a veterinary clinic. The clinic has been self-supporting this whole time. It covers its own cost, but it's very small. It's 420 square feet. And now the place where it's located, we've gotten permission from them to erect a 2,880 square foot building, a full service veterinary clinic. And now we can do a whole bunch of other things that we couldn't otherwise do. And we believe that that's the future of, I guess, nonprofits, is to be able to provide the healthcare that you're raising money for. Because if you control the medical cost, then you control what it costs, how much you need to obtain, how much money do you need to raise to get this dog his orthopedic surgery. And we think we can do it for anywhere from 70% to maybe 50% less than the market. And that's where we're headed. We now have the land. We're just in the process of trying to build this building.
Fantastic, guys. Thanks for joining me and sharing this cool information. People now know where to check it out. You guys are making a difference. So keep at it, and hopefully you keep on expanding. So thanks for sharing all the news.
Oh, yeah. It was great talking to you. Thanks for letting me blah, blah, blah a lot. Appreciate it.
No worries.
Nice to do a long form interview. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. I'll reconnect with you guys down the road and send over the footage too. So definitely love to hear what's in store.